WWE has long been the #1 pro wrestling company in the USA, but TNA was a place where underutilized and underappreciated talents thrived. Legacies and careers were born in the Impact Zone, and at the end of the day, the talents got the professional fulfillment that they had strived for. For years and years, many wrestlers who knocked on the door of Mr. McMahon looking for a job would get overlooked just for the simple fact of having TNA on their CV, but that all changed. Of course, a lot of it had to do with Impact's popularity dipping, but so many men and women made their names in TNA before making their way to WWE to become some of the biggest names in the industry today. Now, if you look at Raw, SmackDown, NXT and check out their rosters, you'll see that many wrestlers have stepped foot inside Impact's squared circle, six-sided circle, or whatever side circle they've been using in the past, but not everyone got to be an AJ Styles or a Samoa Joe. As we all know, WWE has a history of not being the best at booking their own stars, let alone those made elsewhere, but believe it or not, TNA has been the pinnacle of many wrestlers' careers, and that's what we're going to break down right now. My name's Nathan from What Culture Wrestling, and this is the 10 wrestlers who did their best work in TNA and Impact. Number 9, Elijah Burke. If you've got charisma, can cut a great promo, and you are a good in-ring worker, then surely that will catapult you to the top of the mountain. Yeah? Well, not in Elijah Burke's case whilst in WWE, but what could have been, eh? After leaving WWE in 2008, Burke joined TNA in 2009 under the new name D'Angelo Dinero and became a star. Of course, it took some time to get to that point, but when Dinero turned face in late 2009, that's when we could really see the momentum picking up and that charisma we didn't quite get to see in WWE. Even during the low point of TNA going head to head with WWE every Monday night in 2010, trying to reignite those Monday night wars, Dinero was one of the high points, one being challenging AJ Styles for the World Heavyweight Championship at TNA Lockdown. Dinero was injured during this match, sidelining him for a couple of months, and as we've seen before, momentum can sometimes be harder to regain after a long setback or injury. All in all, there's no denying that Dinero's best work came in TNA. Number 8, Mr. Kennedy. The lights dim, the microphone falls from the ceiling, and all you hear is, Mr. Kennedy! Kennedy. Just in case you forgot who he was. This is another case of what could have been. He was meant to be the top heel of the company, battling Triple H for control of WWE after it was revealed that Kennedy was the illegitimate son of Mr. McMahon. It would have been some great stuff, and as we all know, WWE loves a good old soap opera, and most of the time, they do it well, but none of that happened. Kennedy went from Mr. Money in the Bank to eventually being let go in 2009. Now, part of that reasoning may have been the whole Randy Orton injury stuff and the push coming off the rails due to that, but hold on, because here comes TNA. Mr. Kennedy no more, he was now known as Mr. Anderson, and in the blink of an eye, he was in the main event scene winning 2 world titles, headlining pay-per-views as a heel and a babyface. A true all-rounder. In the end, wrestling fans, including myself, wonder what could have been of Mr. Kennedy if the wrestling stars aligned at the right time. Number 7, Eric Young. One of the easiest ones in this list. In NXT, Young was the leader of Sanity. They had the music, they had the entrance, and they had the promos to go with it. And this all suggested that, yeah, this stable has something. Then after moving to the main roster, Sanity split, and Young doesn't really do a lot. He spent most of his time on WWE main event and didn't do a lot to send shockwaves around the wrestling world. But as we know, this wasn't his fault. That falls more down to the booking. Let's go back to his time in TNA. During his 12 years in TNA, he had done it all, and I mean done it all. He was only one of 5 men to win TNA's version of the Grand Slam, alongside AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Abyss and Austin Aries. Now, whether he was a comedy babyface or an evil heel, he was as consistent as wrestlers come. Number 6, Bubba Ray Dudley. Before I go into this one, remember we're talking about Bubba Ray Dudley as a single star and not as a tag team wrestler, because you can't get much bigger than what the Dudley boys achieved in their careers. They held championships in WWE, WCW, TNA, ECW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, NWA. I mean, it's completely mind-blowing what Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley achieved during their Hall of Fame careers, and the memories, of course, that they created for all of us. One that sticks in my mind is the power bombs to the baddest woman on the planet, Mae Young. Remember? From the ramp through the table. Beautiful stuff. Bubba has had singles runs in different promotions across the globe, but nothing can come close to his run in TNA as Bully Ray. As is very much the case these days, reinventing yourself in the wrestling business keeps it fresh, keeps fans invested, and motivates the talent as well. Tick, tick, and tick when it comes to Bully Ray. He transformed himself into a top tier talent, both as a face and a heel. Though primarily as a heel, Ray was at the top of his game during his days in TNA. Number 5, Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley in WWE should be a match made in heaven. One of the few legitimate fighters in the game, he looks untouchable. He's built like something that we've never seen before and has the presence that would make anyone walk the other way. Yet, WWE decided to go with that, Bobby Lashley's sister storyline. You know. And of course, the marriage to Lana as well. Again, not everyone's cup of tea. TNA was a whole lot different. During his 2 runs with the company, he became a 4-time TNA and Impact World Heavyweight Champion. He feuded with men such as Kurt Angle, Bobby Roode and Drew Galloway, and was positioned as the ultimate athlete, unbeatable fighter, and most importantly, he was believable. There's still hope that we can see this version of Bobby Lashley later down the line in WWE, but for now, he can be forgiven for looking back at his TNA career with a tear in his eye. Number 4, Gail Kim. Many people in the wrestling world have described Gail Kim as one of the best workers in the industry. You might remember the match in WWE where she eliminated herself in a battle royal to determine the number 1 contender for the Divas Championship. Not long after this, she left for TNA, and this is where the Rocket was well and truly strapped to her. Kim was the inaugural Knockouts champion, she feuded with Awesome Kong and was arguably an important individual in bringing about change regarding the women's wrestling revolution. This was only in her first run with the company, so let's roll on to her second run, and she held a further 6 Knockout championships, and she was also inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame, becoming the first female to do so. There's no denying that Gail Kim is as influential as they come and achieved so much more in TNA than she did in WWE. Number 3, Bobby Roode. Glorious! Yes, everyone, and I mean everyone, singing Bobby Roode's theme song. Not long after this, he got that huge push and won the NXT title, defending it against a host of top talents and quite literally helping to legitimize NXT as a brand. Then he went over to the main roster and never reached those heights he did with the black and gold brand. So overall, what's been more memorable? His run with WWE or his run with TNA? It's got to be TNA. Now let's rewind all the way back to 2011 where it all started. Roode won the first ever Bound for Glory series, earning a shot at Kurt Angle's TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Now fans were shocked that he came up short at Bound for Glory, but every cloud, because James Storm beat Angle for the title before losing the strap to Roode, who also turned heel in the process. Roode carried himself like a star and was booked like one as well. A throwback to an old school heel who would cut a promo and back it up too. Without a doubt, Roode still has the talent, of course he does, we've all seen it, but who knows, maybe he will be able to go back to the black and gold brand to regain that momentum that the main roster hasn't allowed him to have. Number 2, Christian. Christian will forever be remembered in WWE as a member of one of the most successful tag teams to step foot through the door, and rightly so. Edge and Christian, alongside the Hardys and the Dudleys, cemented themselves as the best of the best in tag team wrestling. Yes, as a single star, Christian did win the World Heavyweight Championship in 2011, beating Randy Orton, and I was definitely one of those peeps who cheered the loudest, but he was never presented as a star quite like Edge was. Christian was one of the first WWE guys to jump ship to TNA during 2005, and within 3 months, he was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He was a star. TNA was offering something a little bit different back then as well. They were focusing on athleticism, and Christian's move to TNA was a big deal, and he took the opportunity just like Edge would have, the ultimate opportunist. At the end of the day, Christian is a future WWE Hall of Famer, but his most successful singles run came in TNA, where he was the main man. Number 1, EC3, Ethan Carter III. I just get a little sad thinking of EC3's most recent run in WWE. I even get a little bit sad thinking of his first run as Derek Bateman in NXT, when it was a sort of game show and they would make the talents do challenges like Eli Cottonwood's moustache promo or Titus O'Neil barking like a dog. Anyways, EC3 came back to WWE and we all saw the vignettes. He looked like a star. He had the look, the charisma, the entrance, and everyone, including myself, thought it would be no time before he's in the main event picture, but nah. For reasons nobody knows other than the WWE, he was treated just like an enhancement talent. But in TNA, boy oh boy, he was a star. A 2-time World Heavyweight Champion, picking up the Grand Championship as well, EC3 had the talent to garner massive heat as a heel and huge adoration as a face. He rode the wave of momentum after being given a massive push in TNA and kept riding it all the way to the top. No question of a doubt, EC3's best work came in TNA, and I for one look forward to seeing what Ethan Carter III does next. There you go, there was the 10 wrestlers who did their best work in TNA and Impact. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure you like, subscribe, share this video, and check out some more awesome content on this channel. I've been Nathan from What Culture Wrestling, and I'll see you next time.